Hi, my name is Ashley Mott, and today I'll be talking about my trauma-informed community development project. My project focuses on coalfield communities that are located in southern West Virginia. I chose southern West Virginia for this project because even though I don't currently live there, it's where I grew up and it'll always be home to me. Growing up in this region, I've seen how often West Virginia is misunderstood and reduced to negative stereotypes rather than understood in its full context. The community has experienced deep structural trauma tied to the coal industry, including company towns, the mine wars, mining disasters, environmental harm from mountaintop removal, the economic collapse of the coal industry, and more recently, the opioid epidemic. These experiences have contributed to generational loss, chronic health impacts such as Black lung, and a long-standing distrust of institutions. Through the healing-centered assessment, it became clear that trauma in southern West Virginia is collective and generational rather than individual. Ongoing barriers such as geographic isolation, limited transportation, a shortage of trauma-informed providers, and fragmented systems continue to shape daily life. At the same time, the assessment highlighted powerful strengths, including strong kinship networks, faith communities, storytelling traditions, and mutual aid. Rather than viewing the community through a deficit lens, this project allowed me to center both trauma and resilience using these strengths as the foundation for the intervention. The first intervention is community healing hubs. It addresses trauma related to geographical isolation, fragmented systems, and institutional distrust. Instead of expecting people to travel long distances or navigate complex systems, services are located in trusted community spaces such as churches, libraries, and community halls. These hubs coordinate supports such as telehealth, peer support groups, and family support in one central location. The goal is to reduce barriers to care while building on existing community strengths like faith networks, mutual aid, and collective action. The healing hubs support trauma-informed community care by changing where and how support is offered. Instead of relying on formal or unfamiliar systems, services are brought into spaces people already know and trust, such as churches, libraries, and community centers. By reducing transportation barriers and stigma, the hubs make it easier for individuals and families to seek support before challenges escalate into crisis. Consistent gatherings allow relationships to form over time, which is especially important in communities where trust in institutions has been eroded away. Peer-led support and local leadership play a key role. When community members help guide activities and conversations, support feels more relational rather than clinical. Over time, these hubs strengthen connection, trust, and collective problem solving, which are essential components of healing in trauma-impacted communities. The second intervention focuses on the intersection of addiction and economic trauma. In southern West Virginia, substance use cannot be separated from the loss of jobs, identity, and purpose following the decline of the coal industry. The Recovery to Work pathway integrates addiction recovery with job retraining rather than treating them as separate issues. Participants receive recovery support while also engaging in workforce development, which helps reduce financial instability during early recovery. Paid transitional employment is a key component, allowing individuals to rebuild stability while gaining skills. This approach reframes recovery as rebuilding rather than being a personal failure or a punishment. This intervention supports healing by addressing both the emotional and structural conditions that contribute to addiction. Economic stress is a major factor for relapse, so providing stable income and employment becomes part of trauma-informed care. Peer recovery coaches and workforce mentors play a central role, offering support grounded in lived experiences. Job training is aligned with local workforce needs, such as skilled trades, infrastructure repair, and healthcare support roles. By reintegrating individuals into meaningful work, this model helps restore routine, connection, and purpose. Implementation for both interventions relies on community-based and professional stakeholders. Faith leaders, elders, and peer mentors, especially those with lived experiences, help build trust, guide outreach, and ensure cultural alignment. Service and system partners support coordination and delivery. Behavioral health and recovery providers offer clinical and recovery services. Meanwhile, workforce agencies, adult education centers, and local employers support job training and placement. Across both interventions, stakeholders share responsibility for outreach, service coordination, and ongoing feedback. This integration approach reduces fragmentation and helps keep the work community led rather than system driven. The healing hubs are implemented in phases that prioritize trust and relationship building. In the short term, the focus is on identifying host sites such as churches, libraries, and other shared spaces, and partnering with local leaders who already hold trust within the community. In the midterm, regular hub gatherings and coordinated supports are launched, including peer-led groups and access to behavioral health services. Long-term goals focus on expanding hubs and developing local leadership to sustain programming. Key partnerships include faith-based organizations, libraries, schools, behavioral health providers, and local nonprofits. These partners provide space, staffing support, and referral pathways. Community engagement relies on outreach through trusted local leaders and peer-led participation. Ongoing community feedback helps shape hub activities, ensuring services remain responsive and culturally grounded. The recovery to work pathway follows a similar phased approach, but focuses on economic stability alongside recovery. In the short term, participants are recruited through recovery programs and referrals, while partnerships with workforce agencies and employers are established. In the midterm, participants engage in job training and paid transitional employment while continuing recovery supports. Long-term goals focus on transitioning individuals into permanent local jobs and strengthening employer partnerships. Key collaborations include recovery and medication-assisted treatment programs, workforce development agencies, adult education centers, community colleges, and local employers. These partnerships allow recovery and employment supports to operate together rather than separately. Community engagement is supported through peer recovery coaches, referral networks, and regular feedback from both participants and employers. This approach helps reduce stigma, improve retention, and ensure the program remains aligned with local workforce needs. Sustainability for both interventions focuses on long-term stability rather than short-term programs. Funding is spread across multiple sources, including disaster relief, behavioral health, and workforce development grants. For the community healing hubs, sustainability comes from embedding services into existing institutions like churches, libraries, and community centers. For the recovery to work pathway, partnerships with employers and wage subsidies support ongoing job placement. Training local leaders, peer mentors, and recovery coaches is essential to long-term continuity. Over time, responsibility shifts increasingly to community leadership, helping ensure the interventions remain locally owned and responsive. Evaluations focus on clear, measurable outcomes for both interventions. For the community healing hubs, success is measured through increased access to services, consistent participation, and reduced reliance on crisis-based systems. Metrics include attendance, referrals, and brief pre- and post-participation surveys. For the recovery to work pathway, success is measured through job training completion, employment placement, and job retention follow-ups. Additionally, recovery stability indicators such as continued engagement in treatment or peer supports will be monitored. Community partners review findings regularly to ensure the interventions remain responsive and aligned with local definitions of success. This project challenged me to think about trauma not just as an individual experience, but as something that is shaped by history, place, and systems. In Southern West Virginia, trauma and resilience exist side by side, meaning healing has to honor both. As someone from this region, this work deepened my pride in West Virginia. I chose this photo of me with my grandma because it represents how I think of West Virginia, spending time in each other's company, surrounded by family. This history is personal for me. One of my grandparents passed away after years of working in the coal mines and developing black lung. I never had the chance to meet him, and I often found myself wondering what our relationship might have been. My grandpa frequently shared stories about his family, making him promise to never work in the mines. Together, these stories reflect both loss and protection, and the ways families in this region have carried trauma while trying to shield the next generation. These interventions reflect core social work values, including dignity and worth of the person, the importance of human relationships, and social justice. By centering local leadership and cultural practices, they offer a path towards healing that is community-driven, sustainable, and built on trust.